News just coming in. Delhi government's Food and Civil Supplies Department had picked up 13 random samples of Maggi noodles from across outlets in the city and had sent them for testing. Now, these lab results have found Maggi unsafe for consumption. After UP, Haryana, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Kerala and Karnataka, the Delhi government has also decided to send samples for testing. Results from the lab have again revealed high levels of lead and MSG.
हमने टेस्ट किया था CSC में, तो इतनी मात्रा में सॉल्ट होता है एक मैगी में जो मिला था, जितना लगभग पूरे दिन में किसी को खाना होता है वो आधा, उससे आधा कम से कम। मैगी को ये बताना चाहिए या किसी भी और खाद्य पदार्थ को बताना चाहिए कि इतना प्रतिशत दिन भर की जो ज़रूरत है उतना इसमें है, ताकि कंज्यूमर अवेयर हो जाए कि मुझे कितना खाना था और ये प्रोडक्ट खाने से मुझे कितना मिल रहा है।
Let's get now word from Ankit Tyagi, who's with us on the phone line. Ankit, take us through details of the lab findings.
Well, as far as the Delhi government is concerned, they have also got this. They have picked up, in fact, samples from various places in Delhi. This is, more bad news as far as Nestle is concerned. In these samples, the Delhi government has found that there is a high quantity of lead, which is harmful for human body, and also of MSG. So now the government, in fact, is going to issue an advisory. They have also asked more samples to be collected from across the city. The government wants almost 100 more samples to be collected from various places, and if the tests are consistent to what have been found, because out of these 10 samples, the content of lead and MSG has been found more than what is prescribed. If in 100 samples also it's the same case, then the government is going to ask for Maggi to be withdrawn from the shelves as far as Delhi is concerned.
All right, so more samples likely to be tested, and if the other samples also show high levels of lead and MSG, then the product is likely to be withdrawn. The government expected to ask Nestle to withdraw the product if more samples show more high level of lead and MSG. Ankit, thanks so much for those details. This is the story we're tracking this evening. We're asking our viewers to call us on the number flashing on your screens and share their responses with us. We have, in fact, Dr. Subramaniam from Mumbai on the phone line with us. Dr. Subramaniam, what do you have to say about samples of Maggi being tested in various states and all labs coming back with the same results, saying high levels of MSG and lead?
Yes, but the problem probably exists, and that is proved scientifically as well. But all I wish to say is that this brand ambassadorship for commercial products should be banned by the government of India. And number two, a commercial channel must be started by the government of India, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. These are the only two things I wanted to convey.
All right, Dr. Subramaniam, thanks so much for sharing your views. Dr. Subramaniam, there, our first caller, he's saying he's upset with the fact that top Bollywood celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan and Madhuri Dixit have also been endorsing this brand. Remember, a case has also been registered against them in Bihar, with the government acting on a complaint filed in a magisterial court in Muzaffarpur. Now, India's favourite instant noodle brand Maggi continues to court controversy days after the Uttar Pradesh government registered an FIR against Maggi manufacturer Nestle for high levels of lead and MSG in the food product. A court in Bihar's Muzaffarpur has ordered a police case against Maggi's brand ambassadors Amitabh Bachchan, Madhuri Dixit and Preeti Zinta. The order comes a day after an advocate filed a complaint against all three Bollywood stars before a court of a chief judicial magistrate. The police will now have to register cases against all three celebrities. In spite of various laboratories detecting high levels of lead and MSG in Maggi, Nestle continues to defend its product, saying it's safe to eat and the level of lead in the noodles is within permissible limits. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is now testing samples of Maggi collected from different states. Its central laboratory is expected to release its report within 2 to 3 days. All right, we have our second caller on the phone line with us. Christopher from Bangalore is with us. Christopher, go ahead. What do you have to say about this controversy?
I mean, this is making a mountain out of a molehill, I believe. If you go across any part of India, you will find junk food, which is far more dangerous to the health compared to what they are talking about. And they informed the company about this. Company would have definitely taken precautions and got things sorted out. But this is just making a mountain out of a molehill and trying to make it into a big political issue, nothing else. This is just a political gimmick. Because if they really are serious about people's health, they would have removed all the junk food that is being taken, that is found in every corner of this country, that people eat and fall sick every day. It's not only junk, but it is dirt filth food that people eat.
All right, Christopher, thanks so much for calling us and sharing your views. Christopher saying that this is just a gimmick, and if the government wants to actually propagate healthy food, it should ban all junk food items. We also have Professor Sriram Khanna, Managing Editor, Consumer Voice, with us in our studios this evening. Thanks so much, Professor Khanna, for coming here and sharing your views with us. What do you have to say about this controversy? High levels of lead and MSG being found in samples across the country, even though Nestle continues to defend its product.
See, let's put the record straight. The Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 replaced the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, which was an act that was hardly implemented. It was an act which you could undermine, you could bribe your way through, and only the poor people went to jail. The rich people never went to jail under the PFA Act. They brought a law which was even weaker. And in 2006, when this law was passed by Parliament, I felt very, very disappointed that the law should have been stronger. It is weaker. Now we are in 2015, and let me tell you that this, baby tiger of Food Safety and Standards Act has now become a lion. It has evolved to its full form. 9 years it has taken, and today it is beginning to bite those companies whom it never could touch before. And the best example is that of Maggi noodles. I don't mind eating Maggi noodles, let me tell you very frankly. Why? Because the offense that is being made out is so minor that it is not going to affect anybody's health unless huge amounts of Maggi are eaten for months together. Why? Okay. Heavy metals are prohibited in any kind of food, whether it's Maggi noodles or any other packaged food product which is sold in the country. And the food standards and safety regulations specify how much of lead, how much of cadmium, how much of nickel is the maximum permissible limit. Now it is the job of the food safety officer in every district to take samples. See, so in this sample must have been taken from a shop.
Right.
Okay. And I am given to understand that the sample was taken from the shop just a few weeks before the before expiry date. So they took the samples, they went to the lab says it is more than what is stated in the rules. So an offense is created. When an offense has been created, then under the law, you can fine them 1 lakh, 2 lakh, whatever is specified in that particular section. The matter should have been finished by paying the fine. But if the Nestle company wants to challenge this, it is possible that by some raw material or some process in its factory overlooked some aspect. Though I have to say that Nestle as a food producer has the highest levels of standards and quality in manufactured food in the country.
Professor Khanna, I'm going to come back to you in just a bit. We have another caller on the phone line with us. Ravi from Bangalore is with us. Ravi, go ahead. What do you have to say about this controversy?
Yeah, I just heard about this controversy. People are dragging big names like Amitabh Bachchan and Madhuri Dixit. But when the entire country is sleeping, all the food control people and all the authorities are sleeping, and we never had anything last 15 years. How would Amitabh Bachchan and Madhuri Dixit know that Maggi has high lead content? Why drag their names into it? The entire country is sleeping for 15 years, and then why would we blame some celebrity for endorsing Maggi as of now?
All right, thanks so much, Ravi, for calling us and sharing your views. Let's also listen into that statement made by the Health Minister of Haryana, who's asked Chief Medical Officers across all districts to pick up samples and send them for testing. Take a look.
तो अभी टेस्ट किए गए हैं, तो इसमें मैगी में लेड पाया जा रहा है, तो हमने भी अपने प्रदेश में कहा है कि भी इसकी टेस्टिंग कराई जाए सब जगह पर। मैंने अपने डीजीएच को आदेश दिए हैं कि सब सीएमओज को कहें कि हर ज़िले में वो सैंपल भरें इसके, और अगर इसमें लेड है तो बहुत गंभीर बात है।
We have another caller on the line with us, Sonia from Delhi. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Sonia, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I was listening to this gentleman, Mr. Professor, who was saying that by far Nestle is one of the best companies in the packaged food. And I think agree to that. Other thing, having said that, I also would like to say that, the government should go ahead and test various other food items like packaged, like kurkure and chips and all, which are very harmful for children's health. And they are taking children having every day in and out. especially the chips, the packet chips, which has, I think, high level of nitrogen levels. And the other thing which I would like to also point out is the FIR has been filed against Madhuri Dixit and Amitabh Bachchan. But, there are other children also, other actors also featuring in the ad.
All right. All right, Sonia, thanks so much for calling us and sharing your views. Professor Khanna, I want to take a quick question with you. So lots of products, off and on we have reports saying that they have high levels of trans fat or lead or MSG. But when a company is liable to penalty, is it only when somebody actually gets unwell after eating the product?
See, under the new law, which we feel is derogatory to consumer interest, in the previous law, if there was an offence, there was minimum 6 months of jail to the company which is manufacturing and their officer. Under the new law, that 6-month compulsory jail has been done away with. All you can do is make a penalty of X lakhs of rupees, depending on the section under which they have been charged, and that's all. You can prosecute them in a criminal court only if there is some injury or death or bodily harm to someone.
So Nestle can get away with this?
Yes, Nestle, because tell me, has anybody died? Has anyone gone sick? Is there evidence of any problem? Without that evidence, you can't send anybody from Nestle to jail. Therefore, let's understand.
Right.
There is something wrong with our law as well. It's not only Nestle. Look, if one batch of Nestle, and it's a batch that is no longer on the shelves, the expiry date is finished, that batch is finished. They have new batches all over the country, let them sample. And why only Nestle? What about the rest of the brands and rest of the foods?
Absolutely.
Why this attention to
So you're basically saying that the law needs to be reworked.
Yes.
After high levels of lead and MSG was found in Maggi noodles, live larvae was found in Nestle's milk powder pack amid the raging controversy over high lead content in Maggi. A sample of the company's milk powder has been declared unsafe by the Tamil Nadu Food Safety Wing. Now, a taxi driver from Coimbatore found larvae in a carton of Nestle Nanpro milk powder for toddlers. He'd already fed it to one of his twins when he stumbled upon live larvae in the milk powder. 2 days later, the toddler reportedly developed an allergy. A report from analysts at the Food Analysis Laboratory in Coimbatore confirmed that the Nestle milk sample contained 28 larvae and 22 rice weevils, and that it did not conform to food safety regulations. We have access to Tamil Nadu Food Department's report that also has pictures of the insects that were found in the milk sample. There's a controversy surrounding food products produced by Nestle. We're getting reactions from our viewers as well. We've been asking them to call on the numbers flashing on your screens. Yogesh from Bangalore is with us on the phone line. Yogesh, go ahead. What do you have to say about this controversy?
Ma'am, actually, regarding Maggi, every day I'm having Maggi. I'm not facing any problem. So it's just a media thing they are publicizing that one. That's it. There is nothing controversial in Maggi. It's a good for health.
All right, Yogesh, thanks so much for calling us and sharing your views. Yogesh claims he's been having Maggi every day and he's perfectly fine. Let's also get a word from Randhir, who's with us on the phone line from Chandigarh. Randhir, go ahead.
Ma'am, I am Randhir Verma from Chandigarh. I am a consumer activist. The World Health Organization's International Program on Chemical Safety says that lead can lead to lead is a toxic material which can lead to neurological, hematological, gastrointestinal, cardiovascular and renal problems. And about 6 lakh children suffer every year because of lead content in the food. So we can't say that lead is less lead content in Maggi is good, but lead is otherwise toxic and is not good for health. So my view regarding that is that it is not the company, it is the chemical content which matters.
All right, Andy, thanks so much for calling us and sharing your views. Professor Khanna, that's a very important point that one of our viewers is raising, that that consumption over an increased period of time will show the effects of increased lead in MSG. So in circumstances like these, what kind of role do you think the FDA should be playing?
See, what the gentleman has just said is 100% correct. Lead can cause difficulties not only while you're eating, but sometimes in a case they have found that children were playing on a merry-go-round which was painted with a paint that had a lead content, and that they led to ingestion of lead through their nose, and even small amounts of lead ingestion became very, very difficult for the children. And therefore, lead is nothing that I would like any children to go near, leave alone eating it. And the responsibility is now purely on Nestle and Maggi to ensure that their production procedures, their raw material sampling and their quality control procedures can ensure that there is no heavy metal content or any other substance that can cause harm to children. And I expect Nestle's leadership, the chairman of Nestle, to make a public statement, come on television and tell people how it has happened and what action he has taken to prevent it in the future.
All right, Professor Khanna, thanks so much for taking our time and coming to our studios and sharing your views with us. This is the big developing story we'll continue tracking on India Today. That's all we have time for. News and updates continue right here. Do stay with us.